Perfect. That was just beautiful. Thank you. It's July, y'all. I know, we're like halfway through the year. So we're continuing this journey through a grand rising. And this month we kick off a new theme looking at this idea of perfection, perfectionism, and divine perfection. Our theme today is the paradox of perfection. So we've all heard this idea, the phrase, right, that practice makes perfect. But what if it doesn't? Or what if that wasn't even what it was about? See, when we have the goal of perfection, what we're doing is actually blocking the experience of imperfection in this now moment. We're cutting ourselves off from the very life-giving essence of the flow of life itself by achieving and striving for something perfect as opposed to being with what is. Now, this doesn't mean that we don't have goals and we're not growing and expanding. It's just this idea of letting go of that there even is a perfect to attain, right? So what if the goal was not to practice, or what if the goal of practice is not perfection, but to recognize the beauty and possibility available to us through imperfection? I think of a beautiful piece of music, right? If it was just to be practiced to become perfect, those missteps here and there could be missed, which might lead to a new sound or a new innovation or a whole new experience, right? So it's similar to this idea that life is a journey, not a destination, right? We begin by accepting what is right now as perfect. And in doing so, the next invitation for practice, for growth, for deeper understanding, for collective evolution will occur. But we must begin with what is and accepting what is. And this requires widening our perspective in order to see the wholeness and the beauty and the divine perfection of what is and what is becoming. Whereas perfectionism, it has a way of narrowing our focus, right? Perfectionism has us fixate on a limiting ideal and disregard the vastness and diversity of life's expression, thinking that there is this one way to be perfect. Perfectionism creates an illusion that there is one way to look or one way to succeed or to do life, and that there is one way that all things should be done. So we are here to witness and notice and call out the pervasive perfectionism in our culture, yes? Starting right here within. In Japan, there's an ancient art form called kintsugi. Some of you are probably familiar. If not, you can at least recognize this beautiful art form. It illustrates embracing imperfection as perfection. So imagine a piece of pottery shatters into countless fragments. If we were to rush to perfectionism and think, oh, this isn't good, this is now bad, we would be tempted to perhaps call that bad, not perfect, sweep it up and throw it away. Discard it, deeming it as worthless. But in Japan, This art form, kintsugi, which is also related to the philosophy of wabi-sabi, which is embracing the imperfections and the beauty in imperfection. This practice of mending the broken pottery with powdered gold or silver allows us to see and allows the piece of artwork to be mended and become even stronger than before. And I would say more beautiful, yeah? This practice of wabi-sabi, this beautiful art form of kintsugi, believes that when we embrace our flaws and imperfections, we can create something new, stronger, more beautiful, and truly extraordinary. It's a 400-plus-year-old technique that strives not to hide the cracks, but highlight them and incorporate them, or the mistakes, into the design. And such a powerful metaphor for our own healing, yes? Sometimes in repairing what is broken, we can create something even more unique and beautiful, and we become more resilient and stronger. Right? The essence of resilience is moving from the belief or the mindset that we are bad or wrong, or that what we call victim consciousness, right? That life is happening to us. And instead, what we are talking about here in this community is how to embrace heart-based consciousness. Being heart-based learners through the experience of life. Everything that occurs in our life is an opportunity to see and to know wholeness if we have eyes to see it. Whereas perfectionism thrives on the illusion of duality, of separation, right? Of the belief that there is perfect or ideal, and there is the imperfect or the bad or the wrong, right? This duality. And it's an illusion. It's an illusion, yet it seems real because it's actually a social construct that we have as a collective agreed to. But just like any social construct or any belief in the collective, we can begin to wake up to a new idea, and the more of us that live in this heart-based consciousness, live in the in-between, walking the path of the third way beyond duality of right or wrong, we raise the vibration and the awareness, and we allow something new to be created, and then as a society, that becomes the new paradigm. Perfectionism can lead to what? Self-judgment. What else? Those of you that have experienced this, what does perfectionism create in your life? Shame, guilt. What else? Obsessiveness. That's a good one. Shame, guilt. Insanity, frustration, yeah. Comparison, yeah. A constant sense of not good enough or inadequacy, right? If we're trying to be perfect, that means that we're not. We can never relax, right? It's like this kind of a energy. However, the truth is that within this realm of oneness, there is no such thing as good or bad, right? It is all one. Perfectionism is not absolute, except in the sense, and here comes the paradox, that all is perfect already simply by existing. So there is no perfect to attain or, try to strive for outside in this world of form, as this perfectionism would tell us, as the what we call sometimes the ego mind, or that thought pattern of doubt and shame and all of that, that would tell us that we somehow are not good enough and must attain perfection by doing or being a certain way. That is the old paradigm. And we are emerging and stepping into and being the catalyst for, right here in this room, this new way of being, which is embracing all things already as divinely, inherently perfect. And that there's this spectrum of, in our daily lives, world of form, perfection and imperfection as a construct, right? But it's created in the societal collective consciousness. So we are here to choose a new thought and a new idea, to see all beings, all things as inherently perfect. Like if you look at nature, you wouldn't go to a tree and be like, oh, your bark is a little, uneven, and I prefer to see perfectly straight lines, right? Symmetry is what all trees should look like. What creates the beauty of nature is the vast expression and diversity itself, right? I love looking at the trees with the weird bumps and seeing what kind of faces. To me, I see faces in trees. I don't know if y'all do, right? But so is true of each of us. We are all nature, and we are all perfect as the beautiful nature we admire around us, with our bumps and cracks, all shapes and sizes, whatnot. The paradox is not to strive for perfection, but to remember we are already perfect. And that has nothing to do with what we achieve. It's who we are. Releasing the need to try to measure up or attain some kind of standard of perfection, we can reclaim our power and liberate ourselves from this self-judgment and doubt and comparison. We recognize that when we view what we view as imperfections are simply it's not true. It's not imperfect. It just is. Similarly, the misbeliefs do not define our worth. We understand that our value is based on our inherent divine nature. So this requires accepting the premise that Dr. Holmes and many other spiritual truth teachings have shared, which is we are perfect beings living in a perfect universe. But you may say, Rainbow, what world did you wake up to today? I look around and see that things are far from anything I would call perfect. The violence, the greed, the suffering, the isms. Yes. And those things are because we as humans have free will. And isn't that perfect? The fact that we get to choose, that we get to be the co-creators of life itself, that we get to be the divine knowing itself through expression. And yes, there are things that happen in the world and things that people do that I would not agree with or say are perfect. Yet, if I am willing to pull back to a wider perspective, to surrender my judgments of what I think is right or wrong, or how things should or shouldn't be, or how people should or shouldn't show up or look and whatnot, I feel a lot more free. And it doesn't mean that I am accepting the violence and the greed in the world as okay. but it means that I am willing to know that something perfect is occurring. Even though I can't see it in form yet, back of all things, there is a wholeness. There is this evolution of life that is always occurring. And when we look back on time, we as humans used to be so barbaric. We would be entertained in different things like this, stoning people, killing people. We've come a long way, let us not forget. But when we see the things now that we must speak to and say are injustices in this world, we can speak to it from a place of knowing the fact that we see this now and there's not an energetic resonance means we are waking up and we are rising to a greater consciousness and to another level of peace and understanding. So let us not see this and immediately go back to the ego mind of judgment and saying this is bad and wrong and shout how wrong it is. Instead, let us wake up to the incongruence of the vibration of the violence that is occurring and to know that we are here to move into our heart and to hold a vision and be that catalyst for healing and something new to be emerged. Let that gold powder inform us to what is ours to do from a place of love. Dr. Holmes, in the Science of Mind textbook, there's a section called Nature Waits on Man's Self-Recognition. So I'm going to read this little section here, and I have adapted some of the language, whereas Holmes wrote man, I will say humanity. We note that from the day when instinctive life, or God, brought humanity to the point of self-choice, it let them alone. From that day, instinctive life has waited on humanity's unfoldment. It may and must hold humans as a perfect being, but it also must let them discover this fact for themselves. So right where we are is a sacred time of discovering what doesn't work for the collective good, right? And as with everything in life, there's an opportunity to learn and to grow. Yet so many humans are living in the vibration of fear, right? And utilize this free will or this freedom of choice to create unconsciously based on the thought patterns of lack and limitation, the choice to hurt or harm others, which only makes sense if we believe that we are separate. So things such as fear and greed run the show when this ego thought pattern is left untamed, right? Which brings us back to the invitation to embrace our imperfections and embody wholeness, knowing that we are perfect, we are golden, we are light and love, and so are all around us. Can we move into holding the potential for our collective to rise above the old patterns of greed and lack and doubt and separation? Kintsugi honors the inherent value and potential within each piece of art. As a broken object can be mended and become not only useful but more beautiful, so too can we. We all can be restored to this inherent divinity and wholeness and perfection by simply remembering the truth. Remembering that I am presence, our true nature. remembering that we are one, we are connected by all, and then allowing the love and the grace to be that golden light that heals all seeming brokenness. You are not broken, right? Hear me, y'all. You are not broken. No matter what has occurred in your life, you are not broken. In each eternal now moment, you have the opportunity to think a new thought and thus create a new trajectory, not only for your own life, but on behalf of the entire collective. I'm sure many of you have a story to tell of a challenge, a tough time in your life that actually became one of your greatest teachers. Yes? Can I get an amen? Anyone? Yes. Yeah. We grow through these experiences, and then we can choose to allow it to mend us and mold us into something greater and become more resilient. Life will bring with it struggles, but how we react and respond to those, the meaning we make of them, is what defines us. Are we holding on to the stories of the past of what occurred to us or what we did or didn't do and allowing that to define us? Or are we letting go and embracing our inherent wholeness and perfection? Accepting our own imperfections reminds us that no one is perfect based on these societal expectations, right? But we are all inherently, divinely perfect. And for me, what this does is it allows me to drop the judgments of others and open to a space of more acceptance and love and grace and compassion, the more that I offer that opportunity for myself, right? To be humble, to know that, yes, I too will make mistakes. And then to allow that grace, that gold, that light, that love to have me be even more resilient. But if we continue to judge ourselves and all of our imperfections based on society's or other people's standards, or if we believe that our way of being or doing something is somehow bad or wrong because we're listening to what others say and everyone's opinions, and trust me, we all have many different opinions, and we cannot please everyone. So might as well stop trying and just rest within the energy of our own heart and let that lead the way. And if you're being called to do something or become something or say something that the world has never seen before, thank God, right? Because I don't know about y'all, but I don't want a bunch more of what we've been having in this world. I want to see something new, a new way of love and light expressing itself through creativity, to drop the judgments and to allow true healing to occur by accepting our imperfections and embracing wholeness. In kintsugi, the cracks and the flaws become the most beautiful and defining features of the art. Similarly, in our own lives, it is our imperfections that shape us and make us unique. By embracing those, we can truly experience the perfection of our existence. So I want you to imagine now, just do this with me if you feel comfortable closing your eyes or finding a nice soft gaze. And just begin to imagine a beautiful golden love light energy washing over you and infusing any cracks in your own life with the love and acceptance. Any places or parts of yourself that you have rejected or judged as bad or wrong, allow this golden love and light to infuse throughout your entire being. Embracing your imperfections as perfectly perfect, divinely perfect, yes? All right, take a breath. You can just stay right there in that lovely spot as I move into prayer. So grateful to recognize the love, the wholeness, the peace, the freedom, the creativity of life itself. Knowing that this one life is living me now. That there is only one thing happening here, now, and always. And so therefore I know that wholeness is who I am. I am whole, perfect, and complete. Freedom is my birthright. Peace. Peace in my heart. Peace in my mind. Peace is revealed now. So in this moment, I choose to see and to be the revealer of light. I choose to see, to be, to become the revealer of love. To be that catalyst for healing and change, not only in my own life, but on behalf of the entire collective consciousness. I choose this day to embrace all of who I am, imperfections and all, knowing that whatever is occurring is perfect. And I can choose to harvest the learning from each experience in my life and to be that stand for love, allowing the beauty and the resilience of nature herself to be fully embodied in my mental, physical, emotional, spiritual body, right here, right now. Love is truly always the answer. So I take this moment just to deny that fear or doubt or unworthiness have any power over my life from this moment forward, knowing that it dissolves back to the nothingness from which it came. For truly, there is no resonant vibrational match for that energy when I remember who I am. The love of God, the peace of God, wholeness, life itself, right where I am. Love is. And for this, I am grateful. Oh, so grateful to allow this love and to rest in the divine wholeness of life, living as me today. So with love and gratitude, I release this word now into the action of the law, this aspect of life that says yes and always says yes, yes, my beloved, knowing it is done and it is so. I accept it, I claim it, and I allow it by saying, and so it is.